Cities like New Orleans and New York City have been hit hard by COVID-19 compared with more rural areas across the country. But that may not last much longer. In a recent Washington Post article, Griff Witte writes, as states reopen, cities are staying shut, and that could mean more coronavirus in rural America. Griff joins me now. He's a national correspondent for the Washington Post. So Griff, you've got these cities that remain closed and then these rural areas around them opening up. What's really the biggest issue city and state leaders face right now?
Well, this is a decision that some governors are making. They're saying we're not ready to open up our entire state because we still have very significant outbreaks in our cities. But we have also a lot of rural areas where there is very little coronavirus spread, and they want to reopen these areas and get them back on their feet, get them back in business. The problem with this is that when you open up the rural areas and you don't open the cities, the fear is that you're going to be inspiring people and giving them a reason to travel. So if you are, for instance, in Sioux City, Iowa, I spoke with the mayor there a few days ago. They have the fastest growing outbreak in the country right now, and they are staying closed, but all of the rural areas around Sioux City have been opened up. And so the mayor there was very concerned that people would be traveling from his city who may be infected with COVID and going to these rural areas and spreading coronavirus even more than it has spread already.
So in your article, Griff, you said that the Tulsa mayor actually agreed with his health director that opening it up was not a good idea because of the infection rate was on the rise, but he opened the city anyway, saying just resisting it is futile at this point. Do you find other leaders facing similar situations?
They are, absolutely. When I spoke with the mayor of Tulsa, he said, look, we are not a bubble. We don't exist as an island, just this city. We've got an entire state around us. And if this state is opening up around us, then there's really no reason to stay shut ourselves because you're not going to be able to enforce the kind of social distancing, the kind of stay at home that exists when an entire state is shut down. I spoke with the mayor of Chattanooga in Tennessee, and he had a similar reservation. He wasn't given the option to stay shut, but he said he's very much concerned as well that even if many areas of his state are ready to open up, he as a leader of a city is not ready to open a city, but he has to open anyway.
Are you, Griff, seeing local, state, and business owners working together in these rural areas?
I think that there is a lot of cooperation, but there is also a lot of discord. I did a story that has appeared today on the front page of the Post saying it looks at two cities in New Mexico, two cities in a relatively rural part of the state. One of the mayors, they had a major coronavirus outbreak there, and he asked the governor to actually lock down the city, the mayor of Gallup, New Mexico, and the governor did that. And there was real cooperation there between the mayor, between the governor, in order to get a solution that would isolate the outbreak and help to prevent it from spreading even further. But just a few miles down the road in a city called Grants, New Mexico, the mayor there actually led a rebellion against the governor's stay-at-home orders and encouraged local businesses to come out, reopen their business in defiance of the state order. And he's been told by the state Supreme Court now that he can't do that. But you have a very clear disconnect there between what the mayor is saying and what the governor is saying.
You mentioned in this article that a lot of people have been taking restraint and been staying at home for the past couple of months during this pandemic, but that might not last. What do you mean exactly? What are they most concerned about?
Well, they're most concerned that, even though the governors are saying we're doing this cautiously, we're going to do this as a phased strategy, step by step, that people might not necessarily notice the subtleties. They might not notice that even though some things are opening up, that doesn't mean that there's carte blanche to go everywhere and to do everything that we all did before this pandemic hit. And so people read the top line that states are opening up, areas are opening up, things are going toward the pre-pandemic environment, but that does not mean at all that we are in a pre-pandemic environment. We are still obviously dealing with the coronavirus. The infection rates in many states are rising very quickly, and you don't see a whole lot of states where they're declining. And so the concern is that as these places open back up again, even if the governors are trying to do it in a gradual way, that people might not interpret it that way and might say that, well, we've got the all clear now, we can go back out and do all the things we used to do.
Mhm. It's a fascinating look at rural America that often gets so forgotten, Griff. I enjoyed reading your article. Thank you so much for joining us. Griff Witte from the Washington Post.
Thanks, Rena.